Hello everyone, my name is Arpit Lahoti. Today we are going to speak about the CFA course, what it entails, and we'll also give some background about how EduPristine can help you with your CFA preparation. Just to give a very brief introduction of myself, my name is Arpit Lahoti. I am a chartered accountant, have cleared the 3 levels of CFA, and have got my MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. Uh, During chartered accountancy, there is this thing called as articleship. So I spent a couple of years in financial due diligence at BDO. After CA, I worked in investment banking for 2.5 years. After my MBA, I just finished my internship with a private equity firm known as Ceiling Capital, and I'll be joining McKinsey as a full-time consultant later this year. So that's about me. I'll just walk you through what exactly are we going to speak about today. So I want to give you a brief introduction about the Chartered Financial Analyst program. What we are going to talk about is how it can benefit you, what it actually entails, and some procedural things like the registration details and the centers at which it will be conducted and the time frame that is available to you. I also want to talk about EduPristine and how it can help you people to prepare well for the CFA program. Uh, I used to teach, I used to take CFA lectures earlier as well before my MBA, and now I've again enrolled as a teacher with EduPristine. So I have quite a long association with them, and I'll give you my honest views on how you can prepare well for CFA and how EduPristine can help. And then, of course, we'll give you the contact information. So after the presentation is done, and in case you want any, in case you have any specific class-related query, then we will give you the number of people whom you can contact and get more details, like if you want to pay the fees and when are the batches starting and so on. During the presentation, in case you have any questions, please put them in the chat box, and I'll try to answer as many of them during the presentation itself. And if I end up missing some of them, then we'll keep the last 10 minutes or so of the presentation for answering questions. So I will take all of the questions then. So I'll answer them either during the presentation or after. So let's start. So I'll first talk about what CFA is. Now, CFA is headquartered in the US, and it's a globally recognized designation. Now, in order to explain very well what CFA entails, I think I'll have to give some sort of a comparison with other finance and accounting degrees. So if you are in India, then the key accounts and finance degrees that you can consider are, of course, for graduation, you have BCom, then you have chartered accountancy, you have CFA, you have some specialized degrees like CAIA, which is an alternative investment specialization degree, and you have FRM, which is a risk management specialization degree. Now, the key thing to note over here is that uh, the key thing to note over here is that CFA is probably the most finance focused degree out of these all. I forgot one, which is MBA Finance. That is also another thing, another degree that you can consider. Now, in all of these, for all of these degrees, I think CFA has the most in-depth curriculum when you want to specifically look at finance. The difference between CFA and a CA or a CFA and an MBA Finance is that CA and MBA Finance are very generalist degrees. So within CA, you will learn a bit about accounts, you will learn a bit about finance, taxation, audit. So it will cover a lot of areas, but it would not go into as much depth in finance as CA would do, as CFA would do. And having gone through an MBA program, I think that even in MBA, it is a very generalist degree. So you will learn either a very wide variety of subjects. So not just finance, but even in MBA finance, you will learn strategy, marketing, operations, etc. So you learn everything. But again, the finance curriculum of a top MBA program would also not be as in depth as CFA. The reason for that is because CFA was conceived specifically for finance profession, and that's why it is so specialized in nature comparing to other degrees like FRM and CAIA. Now, those degrees are again very specialized. So, FRM is for risk management. So, FRM will cover risk management to a great extent, which no other degree would. But if you want to look at an overall finance degree, then I would say that CFA covers the topics in the most depth. So CFA Institute right now has over 170,000 charter holders. We'll talk about what do you mean by charter holders later in the presentation. And of course, so all of these charter holders are working in some leading firms. This is also something that we'll discuss. What are your career opportunities after CFA? I'll just hold them. I've got one person saying that they're unable to hear me, so I'm just holding the mic slightly closer. So let me know if this works. And yes, so CFA program is recognized by 60 plus regulators. That I think is the biggest advantage of CFA. So if you compare it to an Indian degree like chartered accountancy, now CA would not be as well recognized in a lot of foreign countries because it's an India specific degree. But the good thing about CFA is that it is globally recognized. It's one standardized exam which anyone in Europe or in USA or in India would give, and the grades are all standardized across. So that is the reason for its wider acceptance. Uh, Also, one thing that has happened over the past few years is that colleges and universities, so MBA colleges and other graduate colleges, what they are doing is they are incorporating the curriculum of CFA in their finance curriculum. So that just serves as a testament to the strength of the curriculum. Career advantage, I want to devote a lot of time to this, so I will come to it in detail later. What are the career options after CFA? Practical skills, I think I've already spoken about how CFA would give you the most in-depth knowledge of finance. And of course, if once you earn the CFA charter holder, then you get invited to all of the CFA Institute events. So they could be webinars, they could be in-person conferences, etc. So it acts as a very good networking tool with like-minded people who are interested in a career in finance. So, for example, just last year, CFA Institute had hosted a conference with some top value investors in India. So we had Sanjay Bakshi, we had a lot of other top investors who had come in, and if you were a charter holder, you sort of got a free pass to that event. So those are some of the benefits of CFA's certification. Now, eligibility. So CFA there are three levels. For level one, the requirement is that you should either be in the final year of your graduation. For CFA level two, the requirements is that, of course, you should have cleared CFA level one and you should have completed your graduation. And for CFA level three, you just need to complete your CFA level two and then you can give CFA level three. So once you clear all the three exams, I think this is one point that a lot of people get confused about. You do not need a CFA charter holder, CFA charter to state on your resume that you have cleared CFA exams. If you clear CFA level one, you can state on your resume that cleared level one of CFA. If you clear level two, then you can just write clear level two. And if you clear level three but have not yet received the charter, you can just say cleared all three levels of CFA curriculum. For CFA membership, which is the CFA charter holder, the requirement is that you need to have 48 months of experience, a full-time work experience, which is in a finance or finance-related field. So there are some guidelines on what experience counts and what does not. For example, if you are working in a marketing organization in a marketing role, then that experience would not be counted towards your CFA charter. But if you are working in an investment bank or equity research or a finance and accounts profile, then all of those will be counted. So you need to have 48 months of professional work experience, and you need to provide a couple of references from existing CFA charter holders, and you need to clear all the three levels. And then you put in an application to the CFA Institute, and then you receive a CFA charter. Just one thing, which is an often asked doubt: CA articleship experience is not counted in these 48 months. So you need to have full-time experience beyond the articleship experience. Now, about the exam, as I said, it is centrally organized. So it will be administered by the CFA Institute, which is headquartered in USA. Normally, the minimum time which is required to pass all of these exams is 2 years. But on an average, what we see is that candidates take around 4 years to clear all the three levels. But it is very much possible to clear the entire program in 2 years. The good thing about this is that I would not call it a full-time program because you can study at your own pace. So you do not need to, I would say, take a break from your job to do this. Whereas if you look at some other courses, for example, an MBA is a 2-year full-time program. CA would of course require you to do articleship, but it would also require a much more. It would require a much longer duration to complete it. So from that perspective, in CFA you can clear it in 2 to 4 years. Now let's have a look at the. So I'll just give you a very broad overview of the sort of questions, the sort of topics that are covered in the CFA curriculum. So you will notice that most of them are related to finance, economics, and accounting. So the first one is ethical and professional standards. This is more of a theoretical component wherein you have to go through the ethics standards laid out by the CFA Institute. They place a lot of importance on this, and I think that is one of the reasons the professional integrity part of CFA curriculum is, I think, what makes it stand apart a bit. Then you have quantitative methods. Within quantitative methods, just to give you examples, you will have statistics, you'll have correlation, regression analysis, and so on and so forth. Within economics, you will cover microeconomics as well as macroeconomics. Financial reporting and analysis, what you would cover is you will start with the basic three financial statements. You will understand how accounting is done, and then you will move on to financial analysis, so ratio analysis, common size statements, etc., and so on and so forth. Corporate finance, a very interesting thing. So this will deal with the valuation of assets, capital budgeting, and so on. So these are the practical finance topics that will be a part of any company that you join in later on. Within investment tools, what we have is within asset classes, what we have is equity investments, fixed income, derivatives, and alternative investments. So I think all of you would be aware of equity investments and fixed income. Derivatives is another asset class that they get into a lot of depth, but that will be more in level 2 and level 3. And alternative investments would include private equity, hedge funds, commodities, etc. So this is the next thing. And of course, the last bit is the portfolio management and wealth planning. So here, what you would be understanding is so if you have multiple asset classes, and what you need to do is create a full portfolio of someone. So how much should be the allocation to equity? How much should be the allocation to debt? And so on and so forth. So these are the overall exam subjects. Now, just to tell you how it progresses from level 1 to level 3. So level 1 will be an introductory sort of level wherein it's okay if you don't have any prior knowledge of finance or accounting related topics. That's completely fine. You can still appear for level 1. So they start from scratch and they build it from there. Level 2 will be more focused on valuation aspects of the financial instruments. And as you move on to level 3, the focus shifts to portfolio management and overall wealth planning. So that is the way it is structured. So level 1 will give you an introduction of all the topics that are going to be covered across the 3 levels. Level 2 will focus more on the valuation aspects, and level 3 will move on to portfolio management and wealth planning. Now, each level would require approximately 250 to 350 hours of studies. This would be including your classroom time as well as your self-study and mocks. Now, this R requirement often varies for students. So let's say you have already done CA, or let's say you've already done BCom. So probably in level 1, you might have to put in slightly less effort than someone who has absolutely no background on those subjects. But I would still say that it requires a decent amount of preparation, even if you have a prior background, because there are some new topics which come up. For example, derivatives and alternative investments are not really well covered in other courses. So you would have to put in some effort, but the number of hours required would slightly vary depending on your background. Now, this is a very important slide, and please take note of this in case you are thinking of appearing for level 1 soon. In 2019, the CFA Institute had announced that they are going to move level 1 to a computer-based test. So right now, the way it happens is, I will give you how it has happened over the past few years. Of course, things have changed in 2020 because of the situation. But what happens is level 1 would generally be done twice a year. So it would be conducted in June and in December. It is a paper-based test. So you go to the exam center. They will give you a multiple choice question paper. There are 2 sessions, morning and afternoon. So they will give you two sets of papers in each, one set of paper in each of the sessions, and it's a MCQ based. So you will have three answer choices for each question, and you have to circle which you feel is correct, and that's how it is. It has been conducted till now. Now, what CF Institute has said is from 2021 onwards, what they are going to do is they are going to turn it into a computer-based test. Now, even though it's a computer-based test, it does not mean that you can take it from home. You will still have to go to the center, but it will be a computer-based test over there. The other change that has been made is unlike in the past, wherein they opened up CFA Level 1 slots only twice a year in June and in December. Now CFA Level 1 will be conducted 4 times a year. So it will be conducted in Feb, it will be conducted in May, it will be conducted in August, and it will be conducted in November. And this is going to continue every year. So now the choice is that you can either appear for the December 2020 exam, which will still be a paper-based test, or you can appear for the February 2021 exam, which is the first computer-based test. I will give you my views on which I think would be more appropriate, but let's just look at the differences once. So scheduling, I think, okay, so the one thing that has also happened is now since it's an online based, it's a computer based test, what the CF Institute will do is it will, in each of the month that it is conducting the exam, for example, in February, if they are conducting, they will open up a 7-day slot. So let's say 1 week they will fully open up and you can choose a date in that, or if the dates are not available, then they will allocate one to you. So you can choose within those 7 days. Till now, what happened is there was only one day in June and one day in December in which you gave the exam, but now it will be a 7-day window. Exam details. Another thing that has happened is till now there were 240 questions in total for CFA Level 1, but from February 2021, from the computer-based test onwards, the number of questions has been reduced to 180, and of course the time has also been proportionately reduced. Locations, I think this is important. So till now, there were 192 locations globally from which you could take exams within India. All the major cities had this. So Mumbai, Delhi, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, and so on had centers. You can get the full list of centers on the CFA Institute website. But once it shifts to a computer-based test, then the number of locations will be increased. So even some smaller cities might also get CFA centers. I think I've already spoken about the exam length. Question format remains the same, which is the MCQs. Now, this is something important. What happens if you pass and what happens if you fail? So let's say you pass level 1 in December 2020, which is the earliest that you can give the CFA level 1 exam now. You can immediately, once you pass, you can register for the June 2021 level 2 exam. So there won't be much of a gap in between. So you can quickly finish level 2 as well. But if you enroll for February 2021 CFA level 1 exam, then even if you pass, the earliest that you can give CFA level 2 is in June 2022, because the way CFA Institute conducts level 2 and level 3 is they conduct it only once a year. Nothing has changed for level 2 and level 3. So they will only be conducted in June every year, and they will still be paper-based tests. So even if you clear level 1 in February 2021, you can only appear for level 2 in June 2022. So the difference that I'm trying to point out is that just by postponing CFA level 1 by 2 months, that is from December to February, you will end up postponing level 2 by 1 year. So I think that's a call that you need to take. If I were to take this call, I would definitely go for the December exam. The reason being that I would want to complete the CFA curriculum as soon as possible, rather than having too much of a gap in between, because 6 months are enough to cover up the portion for level 2 once you clear level 1. And let's talk about what happens if you fail. So if you don't clear level 1 in December 2020, then you can retake level 1 exam in May. So I had earlier mentioned that CFA level 1 will be conducted 4 times in a year: February, May, August, and November. But another regulation of CF Institute is that between 2 attempts, there should at least be 6 months gap. So that's why if you appear for CFA level 1 in December 2020 and you don't clear it, then you can retake the level 1 exam only in May 2022. You cannot go for the February 2021 exam. So you can only take it in May 2021. Let's say you fail in February 2021, then you can retake the exam after 6 months, which is in August 2021. So just remember that there should be a 6 month gap between each attempt. If you pass in December 2020, you can do level 2 in June 2021. But if you opt for February 2021 CFA level 1, then you cannot give level 2 until 2022. You will have to wait 1 year for that. So I hope this is clear, but I will take any questions that come in later. Someone has asked, I'm looking at the questions. I'll just take a pause and have a look at the questions and see if there's anything that I can answer at this stage. Someone has asked if MBA Finance have any paper exemptions for level 1. No, there are no exemptions provided. So you will have to give all the papers. And see, it's just 1 day. So, and it's just one consolidated paper. It's not that there are separate papers for any subject. So you'll have to give the entire paper similar to everyone else. So, so the answer is no, you do not get any exemptions. Pattern for CFA level 1 2021. See, the pattern remains the same as what it has been till now, just that the number of questions have reduced, and so you'll have 180 questions. But what the CFA Institute has said is that the nature of the questions, the allocation to different subjects, so we saw the topics which were covered, for example, ethics, financial statement analysis, and so on. All of that remains the same, just that the number of questions is reduced, and it will be a computer-based test. Nothing else has changed. Does experience in an industry in finance department count as professional work experience? As far as I know, yes, it is considered as professional work experience for the 48 months requirement. What you can do is you can write to the CFA Institute. In case you have any doubt, you can write to the CFA Institute and they respond very quickly. So you can ask them whether it will be counted. You can give them details of your work. Cost of level 1 registration and examination. I think we'll cover this in a slide later on. So I'll come to this later. Another question on cost, which we'll cover later. Is there any update in books between 2020 and 2021? No. So on the CFA Institute website, they have stated that they will go with the exact same pattern and the same curriculum. So I don't think there is any change in books between 2020 and 2021. Okay, I would not. I would take up the remaining questions as we move ahead. Let me move on with the presentation. So we spoke about level 1 in the earlier slide. Now level 2 and level 3. These are both 6-hour long papers. They will be paper-based tests. So we'll have a morning session and afternoon session. There will be a 2-hour break in between. What the level 2 exam has is, again, item set questions. So, okay, so the difference between level 1 and level 2 MCQs is that in level 1, you will have every question will be discrete. So question 1 would not be related to question 2. Question 2 would not be related to question 3. What happens in level 2 is they will give you some sort of passage or some sort of information, some sort of graph, and they will ask you 4-5 questions on that same graph. So there will be item sets rather than discrete questions, but the format remains the same. It will be completely MCQ and there will be 3 choices for each question. So that remains the same. Level 3, it will have 2 components. So you will have an item set similar to level 2, and you will have essay based question where you have to actually write the answers in 6 or 7 lines. So once you come to level 3, I think you will get a much better understanding of that. But it will just, so you can say it will be a mix of objective and subjective, and level 1 and 2 would be completely objective. The score matrix is provided on the exam results. There is a further slide on this wherein I will tell you how exactly do you look at your scores. But just to give a very brief understanding, if you score more than 70% in any subject, then it is considered average to above average, and 51 to 70 is considered poor to average. Now, CFA exam centers and dates, please take note of this. So level 1 exam is going to be conducted on 5th December of this year. Level 2 and level 3, of course, now will happen in 2021 because this year the exams do not happen. So they will be conducted in either 1st or 3rd Saturday of June 2021. Currently, if you look at the exam centers, the December exams are being offered at all of these locations, which are mentioned on the screen. Now, of course, we know that the situation is quite evolving. So there might be some changes, but since it's quite far off, it's in December, we can go with this list that it will be offered in all of these locations. For the February level 1 exam, as I said, the number of locations would increase for that. So you can go on the CFA Institute website and just click on the link wherein it says February 2021. And there will be a button called as test locations, and you go on that and you will see all the locations which are close to your place of residence wherein you can give the exam. So that's about the CFA exam centers and dates. Now, let's spend a bit of time on talking about the study material and exam resources. So once you register, CFA Institute will send you PDF copies of all of the curriculum. So of all the subjects, they will send you PDF copies. If you want hard copies, you have to pay some more money, and they will courier you the hard copies as well. But most of the students just opt for the soft copies, and they study from that. Apart from that, in case you decide to join EduPristine, you will get some study material from our end. So what we have observed is that the CFA Institute material is a bit too lengthy, and it would contain a lot of stuff which probably is good for knowledge, no doubt, but it will be too much to digest just for an exam. So in case there is, so maybe you would want to look at the study material that is provided by a class, because that would cover all the important topics. And in case you want to learn more about a particular topic, then you can of course go to the CFA Institute material itself. But most likely the material provided by EduPristine or other or a class would be enough. Apart from that, what you will have is we have an online learning management system. So that will give you access to all the PDFs and the class videos. So all the class videos will be recorded. So let's say you attended a class on derivatives and you want to go back to that class and see because you missed out on some important points. So you can look at the recording of that class in your own time and see if that helps. Apart from that, a very crucial part of CFA preparation is solving mock quizzes, and so you will get some mock quizzes from CFA Institute as well. And apart from that, we will provide you question banks and quizzes for each of the topics and subjects. And of course, the faculty members would be giving you some important notes during the lectures. So one thing that is quite important is linking theory to practice. So most of the times what will happen is your instructors will give you examples from their own work experience. So for example, let's say they have worked on a capital budgeting exercise in their company. So they will tell you about how it happens in real life. Uh, just another resource that you really need for an exam is a scientific calculator. Your normal calculators won't work. So these are the only three calculators that are allowed by CFA Institute. If you carry any other calculator to the exam center, they won't let you take it in. So HP 12C, Texas BA2 Plus, and Texas BA2 Professional. Now, my advice is that do not go for the HP 12C calculator. It's very complicated to use, and most of the people don't even opt for it. I think the Texas BA2 Plus is probably the optimal choice. You can go online and see the differences between Texas BA2 Plus and Texas BA2 Professional. There aren't a lot of differences. But I used a Texas BA2 Plus calculator and it has served me well. I still use it for my work. So that's about it. Okay, so there were a lot of questions on the fee schedule and how much is the fees and till when we have to pay it. So see, we have already crossed the early, so let's first talk about the December 2020 exam. So we have already crossed the early registration deadline in case you have not already registered. Now the next deadline is 19th August. And after that, there is a late registration deadline of 9th September. Now the difference is that the $450, which is the one-time charge, stays same, but the exam registration fees keep on increasing as you delay the registration. So if you register by 19th August 2020, your exam registration fees would be $1,000. And if you do it by 9th September, then it will be $1,450. So your total cost, depending on when you register, is either going to be $1,450 for level 1 or $1,900. Now, please note that you do not have to pay the $450 again for level 2 and level 3. So the fees for level 2 and level 3 are much lower. In level 2 and level 3, you will only have to pay for the exam registration fees. You would not have to pay the program enrollment fees. For February 2021 exam deadlines, again, the early registration is till 13th August 2020. So if you pay till then your registration fees is $700. If you paid after that, then your exam registration fee is $1,000, but the program enrollment fee remains the same, which is $450. So I hope that clarifies the sort of cost that you will be incurring for this course. Uh, One thing that often I've heard is that people think that CFA course is a bit on the expensive side, but I actually strongly disagree with that because what a CFA course enables is to work alongside studying. So you can still be earning money and studying on the side. And I think the opportunities that open up, which we will talk about in some time, I think they more than compensate for the cost of this course, and the time you save is quite high. So I would say that this is a very good investment, and that's the reason why I actually opted for the CFA course as well. I'll just pause for a minute and have a look at the questions again. Um, Someone has asked they have the 2019 books, so is that fine? See, what the CFA Institute has said is there won't be a change between 2020 and 2021. What I would urge you to do is just have a look at whether there has been any change in the books within between 2019 and 2020. Generally, there isn't a lot of change between the years, but it would be good that if you can verify, and in case there has been a significant change, you can change. You can opt for the newer version. Another thing to note is that once you register for the next level, you will get the latest set of books. CAT and CFA level 1 in the same year, CFA level 3 in the same year. But the thing was, I gave CFA level 3 in June, and my CAT was in November. So you might want to see how you want to allocate your time and where you are in the preparation. So that will enable you to take a call. Does CFA Institute provide online video lectures? No. CFA Institute just provides you the material, the study material. They will not provide you any video classes. How can we prepare for both the exams simultaneously? You do not need to prepare for CFA level 1 and level 2 together. Just focus on one level at a time, and you will get enough time to prepare for level 2 immediately afterwards. How to get a loan for CFA? I'm not the best person to answer this. Maybe contact your bank branch managers and ask them if they can give an education loan for CFA program. I think that is going to help you. Uh, Then I'm 23. Is it ideal to start CFA now? Yes, it is ideal. I don't think age is a factor. Um, Another question is pursuing CA and currently under articleship and preparing for CA final. Is it advisable to start the course now? So I had started my CFA course during my CA, and I think it is advisable because why do you want to wait till after CA is complete? But again, take a call based on your preparation levels and how you are placed in the CA curriculum, and then decide whether you can take an additional load of the CFA curriculum as well. There are some questions about job opportunities, which I'll answer later. I'll move on with the presentation now, and I'll take the rest of the questions later. Interpreting the CFA result chart, I'll just spend a very little time on this. So this is how, so CFA report card, once you get it, they will just give you a pass or fail. They would not be giving you exact scores for each of the topics. What they would be giving you are these sort of lines. Now, if you look at the three horizontal lines, so the top line represents the 90th percentile score. The middle line represents the median, which is the 50th percentile, and the bottom line represents the 10th percentile. So if you are a clear pass, you will be above the median range, which is the first image that you can see on the left. If you are below the median line, then you would be declared a fail in that particular topic. And if you are almost on the median line, then it will be inferred basis your overall performance in the other topics, whether you are a pass or a fail. So that was just one component. Um, okay, now coming to probably the most important section, which is the job prospects after completing CFA program. Just 1 second. So the job prospects after completing CFA program and who actually hires CFA charter holders. So I think we have already discussed how CFA is a finance-focused program. Now, so of course, the job opportunities will lie mostly in the finance firms. So I'll give you just some examples of recruiters. So of course you have the big four. So you have Deloitte, PwC, KPMG, EY, and other large accountancy firms, which of course have a finance component and would require this. So just to give you an example,